Good evening, all of you. Good evening, students. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, online students. Good evening to all those students also who've joined us on online medium and also YouTube. So, students, welcome everybody. This is a workshop for PSIR optional, Political Science and International Relations optional paper. As we are very well aware that choosing optional is a very important decision which a civil services aspirant has to make, and therefore we've decided to hold this workshop with you today, where we will help you understand the political science and international relations optional paper. We intend to do a detailed 2-hour discussion with you, in which we will try and answer all your questions and queries, and whatever inhibitions you may have regarding the optional paper, that is what we will try and clarify in this particular workshop, because it is your optional choice can be your make or break choice. If you make the right choice, it can really help, increase the probability and possibility of your selection in this examination. And if you're stuck with the wrong choice, then it can have a adverse effect on your preparation as a civil services aspirant is concerned. So therefore, and also political science and international relations optional is one of the most preferred choices among the students, one of the most popular choices among the students, and success rate is one of the highest as far as civil services examination is concerned. So there may be a lot of apprehensions which you all may have regarding the optional. You may be very keenly interested to join this optional also, to take up this optional, but there may be a lot of doubts as well. So that is why we have decided to hold this detailed workshop with all of you to answer all your queries. So both of us will take this workshop, myself, Iqbal Singh, and my esteemed colleague, Dr. Sushant Verma. We both are faculties for Political Science and International Relations optional in Vajiram Ravi. I teach PSIR paper 2, and Dr. Sushant Verma teaches PSIR paper 1. So this optional workshop would also be divided into 2 sections, or I must say 3 sections. First of all, Sushant sir will interact with you, and he will help you understand that why you should take up PSIR, what are the advantages of taking PSIR as an optional paper. Then he would also briefly explain to you PSIR paper 1 syllabus, and then he would also have a brief discussion with you on the kind of topics which are there, and would also try and discuss one topic with you so that you get a hang of things, that what kind of topics we discuss in PSIR paper 1, and we would also circulate notes regarding that among all of you. And then I would also have a discussion with you. I would discuss with you PSIR paper 2 syllabus, and we'll try and briefly discuss a topic from PSIR paper 2, and also let you know what kind of questions are asked, and then also help you understand the important features of the course, and let you know that what should be the ideal strategy, the best possible strategy to prepare for this examination. So that's how in different sections we're going to divide this particular workshop. So Sushant sir will start. He will start with PSIR paper 1 syllabus and also a topic from this, and he would also help you understand the convergence between PSIR syllabus and the GS syllabus, which makes this optional a very popular choice. So are you all ready to begin the workshop? Are you all ready? So let's start. So Sushant sir, you please start and join later. And these handouts, offline students, you will receive very soon. These handouts have the syllabus and everything. But for the online students, they have already been uploaded on the portal. And also for YouTube students, also it's on the website, and you can, in the description, you may download that. So welcome. Let's start this. Thank you, students.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Welcome all of you. Now, regarding the material that is uploaded on the material section of the portal, you can see. Now, as Iqbal sir has clearly communicated to you, we are going to divide this optional workshop into 4 sections. First is why choose PSIR as an optional, Then we will be having a discussion on paper 1. Paper 1, there will be a brief discussion on one of a topic of paper 1. Third, what are the salient features of our program? And in the last, you will be having a brief discussion of paper 2. Like paper 1, there will be a brief discussion on paper 2, and in the final, we will be take up your queries. So all queries, whichever queries you are having, please keep it in the last. We will come to your queries also. Okay. Now, when you start preparing for civil services optional, civil services examination, one common dilemma which students face, that which optional to choose, and there are plethora of optionals. Okay. Now, if I step into your shoes, okay. So normally we go by the current tendency, that which optional is a hit optional, okay, which option has been giving toppers all these years. But I think that that will be a secondary consideration for choosing optional. The first consideration for choosing optional is, first, your interest in this optional, and second, thorough knowledge of the syllabus as well as PYQs in deciding which optional suits your temperament. So you should make an informed choice as far as optional is concerned, the availability of the materials and guidance, and then last comes how PSIR has been performing, okay, or for that matter any other optional. So on all these criteria, PSIR works as a very suitable optional. And you are Gen Zs, if I say, Gen Z has been playing a lot of role in changes in Nepal and neighboring countries also. So one thing comes to mind is, what is the utility of optional? PSIR is optional as far as your convergence with GSE is concerned also. So what dividend choosing PSIR as an optional is going to pay you? That is also one of the aspects, but primarily it is your interest and your understanding of the subject. Now, why I'm saying interest? One simple reason, if I tell you that if I make you watch a movie of your favorite film star back to back, binge watching, you'll not mind watching that movie. You'll not count on time. But point is that if you gradually lose interest in the optional, that optional will seem burden to you. And as I say in my classes also, that it is not the optional which fails the student. It is a student who failed the optional. Okay. So you should make an informed choice. And once you have selected, stick with that optional, because if you are going to appear next year, by the time you get selected in 2027, it means you have to stick with that optional for at least 2 years. So PSIR has been one of the better performing optionals in terms of percentage. And I'm not saying this since this is my optional. You go to UPSC's website. UPSC every year gives the report also to the President of India and performance data of different optional. In UPSC Civil Services examination, PSIR is having one of the high success rates. Now, the factor which I discussed is why you choose PSIR as an option, because PSIR has a lot of convergence with the GS syllabus. Okay. Anyway, I hope you know that there is, if I show you, the handout. Now, as you can see that essay is a very important part of your main examination. And when you scan the topics which have been asked in the previous 4 or 5 years, at least one topic comes from essay. In the essay comes from PSIR optional. And a good understanding of the optional obviously will help you in writing a better answer as far as essay is concerned. So obviously, you can be very comfortable, especially keeping in mind that UPSC has been asking philosophical based essays, and your knowledge of PSIR helps you in that tremendously. Second thing is, PSIR has great convergence with all the GS papers, paper 1, 2, 3, and 4 as well. Okay. Now, if you go through the material which we have given to you, you find that, as you can see on the board also, that this in GS paper 1, different topics are there. which are directly from the optional syllabus. For example, these political philosophies like communism, capitalism, socialism, that is a part of political ideology of the PSIR paper 1. And we will be discussing extensively as far as our optional is concerned. Now, ideologies, political ideologies are simply a set of beliefs or ideas which justify an existing system or criticize an existing system. Okay. So you can see, yes. Okay. So you can see how that these philosophies that we are going to discuss extensively. Now, if I say socialism, is it mentioned in India's constitution's preamble? If you have see the preamble, the word socialism was inserted in 1976, 42nd Constitutional Amendment. What is socialism? India is a socialist. India has democratic socialism, where we intend to achieve socialism through democratic means, that is through peaceful means. What is socialism? If I simplify it, socialism is simply ownership of the material resources by the community so that it is used for satisfaction of the people's need and not for profit motive. And India, since independence, started with a mixed economy, where state was commanding the heights of the economy. So that's what we will be discussing. As you can see, effect of globalization on Indian society. So what is globalization? What is the impact that we will do extensively in paper 2 as well as paper 1? And as you can see, social empowerment, communalism, regionalism, and secularism. Now, secularism, again, it was added in India's preamble by 1976. And if you are reading newspapers, recently, I think if you see to today's newspaper, there is a picture of Banu Mushtaq inaugurating Dasara festival in Mysore. And Supreme Court said there's a petition in Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court has time and again repeated that secularism is a basic feature of India's constitution. So the festival was organized by Indian state, and Indian state cannot discriminate on the basis of religion. So this objection against Banu Mushtaq inaugurating Mysore Dasara festival along with CM of Karnataka was rejected by Supreme Court. Secularism, the separation of state and religion. Now, entire GS paper 2, excluding some governance and social justice issues, is included in PSIR syllabus. So what Indian foreign policy and Indian government and politics. This is a part of section B of paper 2, and this is a part of section B of paper 1. So what you study Indian foreign policy, IR, GSIR, we will be discussing more extensively in PSIR optional paper. And what you study in Indian polity, we discuss more extensively in, you can say, IGP section, paper 1, section B. All of you have got the syllabus also. You can see this material, PSIR workshop material. You are getting 3 materials. The PDF is there on the material section of the portal, you can see. Okay. And if you see, if you come to page number 6 of the workshop material, this is for your, the workshop material, page number 6. There I have given you a syllabus also for your easy reference. And syllabus you can see on page number 7, it is section B. On page number 7, you can see section B, Indian government and politics. So entire GS paper 2, with the excluding some governance and social justice issues, is subsumed under PSIR paper. Now GS paper 3, you can see land reforms in India and green revolution, for example. Okay. Now if I cross verify it with PSIR syllabus, can you refer to page number 7? Page number 7 of your material, this material, PSIR workshop. And page number 7, where I've included the Indian government and politics paper, the syllabus. Can you come to topic number 8? That is planning and economic development. And topic number 8, you can see Nehruvian and Gandhian perspectives role of planning and public sector, green revolution, as well as land reforms. It is discussed extensively. Yes, you are getting that really, actually. There are 3 handouts you should be having. First handout is this. It is titled PSIR workshop. Can you see? PSIR workshop. Just you are getting that. Just wait. Okay. Online students, I hope you are able to locate the handout. Okay. Now, so how you can see that it includes environmental pollution. Environment is a topic in PSIR paper 2. All of you refer to page number 9 of the syllabus, 9 of the material, page number 9. Page number 9, paper 2, section 8, topic number 11. Can you see contemporary global concerns? Page number 9. And in contemporary global concerns, you find it also includes environment as global concern. So here we find how whatever we are going to discuss, it is there. Security challenges like terrorism, like internal security aspects, all we'll be discussing in the concept of security in paper 2. Okay. So basically, and GS paper 4, you can see contributions of moral thinkers and philosophers from the world, ethical issues in international relations. All these are very much a part of your PSIR optional. Now, if you are having material with you, come to page number 6 again, where I have mentioned you, where I have mentioned, if I say the paper 1 syllabus, it starts with topic number 10. Can you see Western political thought? Topic number 9. You're not having? You just get. So you find that it is already given there. Can share? It is coming. Page number 6, you can see. Page number 6. Can I share with her? Page number 6. If you see Indian political thought and Western political thought. So whatever you are going to discuss in your ethics, Aristotle, Plato, Socrates, Gandhi, Machiavelli, everything we will be discussing extensively in PSIR optional. So one of the reason why students choose PSIR as an optional is simple reason that apart from the diverse areas which are covered in PSIR syllabus, its great overlap with GS gives you an edge in the GS, whether it is optional, whether it is essay paper, or whether it is the 4 papers of GS, paper 1, paper 2, paper 3, and paper 4. And this knowledge of PSIR optional will help you understand that in a better manner and tackle those questions in a better manner. So this is how one of the reason why we should choose optional is PSIR optional is that it is one of the best performing option. It includes many events of the contemporary issues also, whether in Indian government and politics, whether in the IR. And invariably, if you appear in the interview, most of the time questions are from current affairs, whether domestic politics, whether it is international politics. And your understanding of PSIR optional will help you answer them in a better manner. Comes main examination, I have discussed convergence with the GS syllabus. And it is obviously background is immaterial. It depends on students' ability to work hard and the right guidance and interest which they are going to have. See, this year's topper. She was from non-pol science background. And generally speaking, students with non-PSIR background, they perform better in the reason because they stick to what teachers tell them rather than diversifying their focus. Those who are from PSIR background, they feel overconfident. There's a thin line of difference between confidence and overconfidence. So stick to whatever is being told to you in the class, prepare accordingly, and you will be in a very good position. So this is as far as why choose PSIR as optional is concerned. Now, before choosing any optional, you should have a feel of the optional. And that's why we have included a brief discussion on paper 1 as well as paper 2. So give you an idea that what all topics you need to study and how you should focus, how you should progress. Now, like any optional paper, you find that paper 1 and paper 2, both of PSIR. They have, it is divided into two sections, section A as well as section B. And you can see at the top of the syllabus, page number 6, what is the mention? It is political theory, and section B it is called as Indian government and politics. Okay. Now, this paper is PSIR, international relations form paper 2, and political science largely it forms paper 1. Now, section A is of political theory, and section B is of Indian government and politics. How many of you have not got the syllabus yet? Give them material. Okay. Now, section A and section B, if you see. Now, what is political theory first of all? If anybody asks you, what is a theory? Share the PDF with online students also. What is theory first of all? Theory is simple, systematic explanation of a political phenomena. Sorry, systematic explanation. Theory is simply systematic explanation of a phenomena. The word political is adjective, and if I say it is a systematic explanation of political phenomena. And for the sake of simplification, we can understand this political theory section is divided into political thought as well as ideologies and concepts. Political thought as well as ideologies and concepts. Now, political thought refer to paper 1 section A, that is page number 6 of a material. What is the topic number 9 and topic number 10? Topic number 9 talks about Indian political thought. Indian political thought, and topic number 10 talks about Western political thought. And Indian political thought, can you see it starts with Dharma Shastra, Artha Shastra and Buddhist tradition. For example, what is political thought? Before I proceed further, political thought is basically systematic thought of an age. Lasky, a very prominent political scientist, once said, every thinker is a child of his time. So events in his lifetime, it shaped his evolution of his ideas, his or her ideas. So political thought is systematic reflection about political life during the life of a thinker. Now, your syllabus talks about Dharma Shastra, Artha Shastra and Buddhist tradition. Artha Shastra was written by Kautilya. Kautilya, the brain behind Mauryan Empire, India's first centralized empire. What was the context of his evolution? Context of his evolution of his ideas was instability in India. India was facing invasion of Alexander. So he believed that tyranny is better than anarchy. You need a strong state to maintain order in society. And Kautilya's Arthashastra, it believed in ends justifying means. Ends justifying means. End justifying means to secure national interest. Any means, whether it is moral or immoral, does not matter. What matters is what you are able to achieve through whatever means. So in times of normalcy, the king has to obey the moral path, follow the moral path. But in times of emergency, chaos, threat to his rule, he is free to take any method, any means, like deception, treachery, force. What Kautilya said, Sam, Dam, Dand and Bhed, to achieve his or her goal. So Kautilya was said to be an exponent of realism, which focuses on what is to be done rather than what ought to be done. So currently India is facing challenge of China. Okay, shall India increase its own defense capability? Yes, Kautilya would say yes, Because Kautilya said, a strong army ensures that your friends remain friends and enemies also behave as friends. Does US has that capacity? Yes, US is the most strongest country today. So when China behaves as a friend of US, yes. So that is realism. And WPT, can you see? Can you see there is a person called as Machiavelli? Machiavelli. Machiavelli and Kautilya both are said to be a realist thinker that they focus on in politics and justifying the means. Machiavelli is also the person in whose ideas the concept of secularism started. Machiavelli said, religion shall have no role to play in the affairs of the state. So your syllabus UPSC often compares Kautilya and Machiavelli. Jawaharlal Nehru said Kautilya is Indian Machiavelli. But who came first? Kautilya. Can we say Machiavelli is Italian Kautilya? Yes, we can say that. So basically, in political thought, we have to discuss the ideas of the thinkers, IPT as well as WPT, Indian as well as Western. Talking about ideologies and concepts. Now, ideologies and concepts, you find that various ideologies we are going to understand. Now, ideologies basically provide us a lens to see the world, to make sense of the world. Okay, for example, paper 1, section 8, topic number 8. Can you see there is an ideology called feminism? All if you look at syllabus. Your syllabus talks about liberalism, Marxism, socialism, and feminism. What is feminism? Feminism is simply the belief that women are disadvantaged because of their sex, and this disadvantage should be removed. One of the feminists, for example, Cynthia Enlow, she famously asked, where are women? Where are women? Women are missing from the public sphere. For example, do you know how many MPs, women MPs are there in current Lok Sabha? It is less than 15%. What is women's share of Indian population? Roughly 50%. So 50% of women are represented by just 15% of MPs. The President of India is a woman. But as far as chief ministers are concerned, there are only 2 chief ministers out of 31 chief ministers who are women. Supreme Court has less than 10% judges as women. Why women are underrepresented in civil services? Why women are underrepresented in politics? It is because of systematic discrimination against them, which confines them to the household. So we are wearing the lens of feminism to see the existing order. And that's what feminism tells us. That if you see the state, it is largely dominated by males. Did India ever have a women army chief? No. Women Air Force chief? No. Because entry to women's entry to army, air force or navy till recent times, the combat wing was not allowed. So where are women? Cynthia Enlow asks. So ideology gives us the lens to see the reality. Now, then it talks about concepts. And what all concepts are there? Concepts are simply what is given in India's preamble. What does preamble says? Indian state will be a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. Democratic republic. And Indian preamble talks about justice, liberty, equality, fraternity to all citizens of India. If you are aware with the Indian preamble, what is justice? Giving what is due to an individual. So can I say that women are underrepresented? It means justice is denied to women. Women are underrepresented in Lok Sabha. Can I say it is denial of equality to women? Yes. If you are aware that 106th Constitutional Amendment Act, it gives women 33% reservation in Vidhan Sabha and Lok Sabha. Feminists will see why only 33%. Ideally, women constitute half of the population. So why can't we make it more representative by increasing reservation to 50%? When you can give it in municipality, when you can give the same 50% reservation in panchayats, why are you not giving women same representation? 50% in Vidhan Sabha and Lok Sabha. India had one of the strong prime ministers in the form of Indira Gandhi. She was very successful in dismembering Pakistan. Garibi Hatao, she slogan she had given. The strong prime minister. So the normal patriarchal view that women cannot be a strong ruler, that is not justified. Kiran Bedi was India's first woman IPS officer, very upright. Mamata Banerjee, a strong leader in her own right, grassroots leader. So this is how justice is denied to women. Fraternity. Ambedkar, the father of India's constitution, famously said, if Tilak were an untouchable, he would have not said that Swaraj is my birthright and I shall have it. He would have said, abolition of untouchability is my birthright and I shall have it. How can India be united as a nation unless India does not have fraternity? Fraternity means brotherhood. An upper caste would not touch the lower caste because of pollution. So how can India become a nation unless we remove the caste as a factor of discrimination? So this bonding, a nation becomes strong only by bonding among people. So whether you are any background, whether you live in Northeast, live in Delhi or Tamil Nadu or Gujarat, doesn't matter. You consider yourself as Indian. That is the ideology of nationalism. And India, which faces communalism, India, which faces casteism, India, which faces ethnicity, that is a roadblock to national integration. So this is what we are going to discuss. What is liberty? What is equality? A feminist will say equality should start first in the family. In the family, who takes all the decisions? Males. So a radical feminist will say equality should start in the family, where women should be treated at par with males. This is the foundation of equality. Once you do that, it will be replicated at all the levels of society, social, political, economic. First start in the family itself. The notion of equality. So what is the notion of equality, liberty from different ideological perspectives we are going to discuss. So these are the political thought, IPT, WPT, as well as ideologies and concepts. Since I mentioned caste, religion and ethnicity, turn to page number 7. It leads us to section B, Indian government and politics. What is the topic number 9? What is topic number 9? IGP, Indian government and politics. What is topic number 9? Topic 9 talks about role of caste, role of religion, role of ethnicity in India. Role of caste, religion and ethnicity in India. Now, anybody from Maharashtra here? Okay. You might be, if you are reading newspapers, you might be aware that Mumbai came to a halt by protest by Maratha activist Manoj Jarenge Patil. And finally, Maharashtra government agreed to issue Kunbi certificates for the Marathas in 10 districts. Mr. Patil has been demanding reservation for women. Sorry, reservation for Marathas. And if you are aware, Karnataka government has started a caste census. It started yesterday, caste census, which will enumerate. And Indian government has also agreed for caste census. Census is going to be conducted. It will have caste census. The first caste census in India after 1931. So what role caste plays in Indian politics? It is said that caste-based mobilization, what one of the India's prominent political scientists, Rajni Kothari. He said, due to mobilization on the basis of caste, it has strengthened democracy in India. How? From 1990s onwards, regional political parties were led by OBCs, other backward caste and Dalits. Have you heard the name of Mayawati? She is head of BSP. Mulayam Singh Yadav, Lalu Prasad Yadav. They were all coming from OBC sections. Mayawati was a Dalit and she became multiple time chief ministers of Uttar Pradesh, India's most populous state. The current prime minister himself is OBC, other backward classes. And no party can afford to ignore caste. While giving seats, the caste composition is kept in mind. Religion is also an important factor in politics. Partition of India, 1947. Was it impact of religion in politics? Yes. It has continued to define India's relation with Pakistan as well. And religion still continues a very important role in politics. I just mentioned Banu Mustaq inaugurating the Mysore Dasara festival. Supreme Court has time and again said secularism is a basic feature of Indian constitution. Ethnicity. Prime Minister recently traveled to Manipur. And Manipur has been burning due to ethnic conflict between Kukis and Meiteis. Assam. Anti-foreigners agitation in Assam has been very strong. In Maharashtra, you find that there have been campaigning against non-Marathis because Marathis say that we are son of the soil. So son of the soil theory, or for that matter, the Tamil Nadu going for two language formula, not going for 3 language formula. Tamil Nadu state government follows 2 language formula, English and Tamil. They are against imposition of Hindi as the 3rd language. These are nothing but example of the politics on the basis of ethnicity. What is ethnicity? It's an identity which separates us from the other. If I'm a Tamil speaking population, Tamil speaking person, my mother tongue is Tamil, that distinguishes me from a non-Tamils. That is my identity. So this is how it takes place, politics of ethnicity, and how it impacts the politics that we have to discuss. Your IGP starts with, can you see topic number 1? Is it related to freedom struggle? Topic number 1. Can you see it is related to freedom struggle? So freedom struggle, Gandhian movement, or how different ideologies interpret freedom struggle. Liberal, Marxist, Dalit perspective. I mentioned, Ambedkar said, for me, liberation from internal tyranny is more important than liberation from external tyranny. What is internal tyranny? Caste system. So remove the injustices. Then we will talk about Britishers being kicked out from India. That was Ambedkar's perspective on Indian nationalism that we have to discuss. Your IGP talks about the constitution. Constitution features and institutions. And here, students commit the mistake that since this is what you study in GS Polity also. So they go and write GS answers in their optional. And that's why they don't get marks. Either in Indian Foreign Policy, paper 2, section B, or Indian Government and Politics, paper 1, section B. What you study in GS Polity, definitely that will help you in understanding what we're going to study here. But GS, you examine it superficially. Optional, we delve more deeper. So you have to use the theories to understand what federalism is. You have to understand the views of the scholars and write their perspectives. Like I mentioned, caste, Rajni Kothari, you have to write. Federalism, you have to write about Balbir Arora, Granville Austin. All these names you have to write, and you have to link it with theories also. That's how you're going to write an academically rich answer and make your answer optional specific. And this is where students make the mistake and they do not get much marks. So your GS answer on the same question, suppose if the question comes, analyze the role of governor. I hope you are aware that President of India has seeking an advice from Supreme Court. So same question comes in GS, critically analyze the working of governor. Same question comes in optional, critically analyze. The answer core content will be same, but here you are giving optional touch. But you have to write in the use in the theories as well as use the perspective of the scholars. And if you are not going to do that, your answer will be GS answer. You will not be getting marks in that. So you have to discuss constitutional features and institutions. What is federalism? What are social movements? Now, the last topic of this paper, topic number 11. Topic number 11, can you see what it is given? Social movements. And social movements. For example, one of the social movements mentioned is environmental movement. Now, environmental movement, have you heard of Chipko movement? Where was Chipko movement launched? In Uttarakhand, 1970. Yes. Which year? 1973. Chipko movement. Now, if the same question comes in GS, your answer will be different. How I'm linking it with syllabus? Chipko movement is an example of ecological feminism. Ecological feminism, which highlights there is a close link between women and nature. In different cultures, women and nature are considered as to be close correlation. Why? Nature nurtures, women also nurture. Mother nature, we say. So mother nurtures. So many cultures of the world, there is a close correlation between women and nature. So you have to write, this is a eco-feminist perspective, Chipko movement. And you have to give in the views of scholars like Ramchandra Guha. You must have heard his name. Ramchandra Guha, Madhav Gadgil, Vandana Shiva. All these scholars' names you have to write while writing the answer if it comes on social movements. So this is nature of the paper. Paper 1 section A and paper 1 section B. Now, role of caste, religion and ethnicity. Okay. Now, here, if I talk about WPT, again come to paper 1 section A, topic number 10. Can you see there is a name of a thinker called John Locke? John Locke. And John Locke was a person who said, what is the role of government? What is the role of government? John Locke had said, government has just 3 roles to play. Government has to protect the natural rights of life, liberty, and property. That's the role of the government, to protect natural rights of life, liberty, and property. These rights constitute limitations on the government. These rights constitute limitation on government. Fine. Now, life, liberty, and property. Government cannot take away your life except as per procedure established by law. If I commit a murder, then only court finds me, tries me, and if court finds that it is rare of the rarest case, then only I will be given death sentence. Else I cannot be tried on frivolous charges. Now, property is very important natural right. And from John Locke's view, a slogan became famous during America's struggle for independence from British rule. It says, no taxation without representation. No taxation without representation. Fine. Government cannot tax us without our consent. Government cannot tax us without our representation in the government, because property is a natural right. Property cannot be violated by the government. Fine. No taxation without representation. Now, if I link it with the recent reduction in GST rate, I hope you are reading newspapers. There's a big advertisements. Amul says, I've reduced price of my paneer, price of my milk. Car companies are saying, we are passing off the benefits of GST reduction to the consumers. Who reduced it? Government. Who takes the tax collection from the people? Government. Now, which type of government India has? India is the world's largest democracy. So we have what we have in India is a representative democracy. It's a representative form of government. What Abraham Lincoln famously said. What is democracy? Democracy is government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So who has reduced the tax rates? Government of India. And government of India, who took the decision of reduction of GST rates? It is GST Council. You know, GST Council consists of representatives of center as well as states. And how the ministers have been elected? By the people voting in the elections. So did we authorize our representatives to decide that tax rates on our behalf? Yes. India is a representative democracy. We do not directly participate in lawmaking. We participate through our representatives. And these representatives, from these representatives, MLAs, MPs, come the minister, and they have taken a decision in the GST Council that India's rates will be reduced. This is same what John Locke said. Government is there to protect your life, liberty, and property. And government can tax you only if government has the consent of the people. How we give the consent? Through elections. So this representative government has been elected through elections. It has been represented through elections. Now, how many of you have actually voted in any election? Raise your hands. Okay. Yes. Why did you vote for a particular candidate? On which criteria did you vote for that particular candidate? Tell me. Yes? No, why did you vote for him? So basically, you are a supporter of a particular political party. Why do you support particular political party? Ideology. Okay. You write the ideology. So she supported particular political party candidate because of ideology. Fine. Yes. Others who raise their hand. Yes. Why did you vote? Nota. Okay, good. Nota means none of the above. These are useless fellows. Whatever candidate, I'm not going to vote any of them. They are not suitable candidates. Fine. I'm a voter. I have freedom of expression, freedom of choice. Fine. Yes. Any other apart from Nota? Yes. Yes. Why did you vote? MP election. So why did you vote for that particular candidate? Okay. Apart from that, why did you vote for him? For development. Good. For development. Now, has that candidate carried out important development works in his previous term as an MP? Yes. So development. So we appreciated that person. Yes. Any other person voting? Raise your hands. Yes. Why did you vote? Family member. Fine. So he voted because of does nepotism plays an important role in politics? Yes, dynasty politics is there. Because family member, fine. Is anybody last response? Online students, yes. Anybody voting for any other reason apart from that given? Now, on the basis of religion. Why? Because that the person belong to the same religion? Yes. Casteism. Okay, fine. Because the person belongs to the same caste. Now, all these are nothing but factors influencing electoral behavior of the people. Yes, electoral behavior of people. Is it the material you have got? You have got three materials. First material of paper 1 and second material of paper 2. So what does that topic says? Trends in electoral behavior. How voting pattern of people is decided and how voting has taken place so far. Yes. Can you see the material? It's trends in electoral behavior. So trends in electoral behavior. You can see here the students. Trends in electoral behavior are having that. So the same thing. If you find, yes, take it. Trends in electoral behavior. Now, if you see the question which UPSC asked at the back of the material on electoral behavior, yes, charisma. Fine, Deepak talked about charisma. Charisma means personal appeal. So whatever leader you voted on the ground of charisma. Fine. Now, can you see at the back of the material, there is a question asked by UPSC. And what was that question? At the back of that material, I've included a question also. At the back of this material, trends in electoral behavior, can you see there is a question which UPSC has asked previous year's questions. And this says, what was the question? It says, electoral behavior. Question says, electoral behavior of voters is governed more by social and economic factors than the political factors, which you explain. So UPSC wants to know from you how and why the political behavior of the voters is governed more by social economic factors and less by political factors. You have to explain it. So first of all, as I said, you have to link it with theory. How to link it with theory? Because this is what is called as behavioral approach to the study of politics. Behavioral approach to the study of politics. Behavioral approach says that you have to study how individuals behave as a voter, as a power holder, as a power seeker, which all factors influence their behavior. So while writing for this answer, you have to drop in theory, that is behavioral approach. What is behavioral approach? That we will discuss in detail. So this is simply behavioral approach to the study of politics, and you have to write in the views of the scholars. For example, I've included Professor Ashutosh and Professor Rekha Saxena. They say that yes, Indian electoral behavior is governed more by social and economic factors than by the political factors. Now, what are the political factors and what are the economic factors? For example, one of the political factors is anti-incumbency. Anti-incumbency. One of the political factors is the ideology. For example, what is the meaning of anti-incumbency? Anti-incumbency means dissatisfaction with the current government. One example, if I give you, the Delhi elections in 2025. Who came to power? Which party came to power? BJP came to power. BJP replaced Aam Aadmi Party government led by Arvind Kejriwal. Arvind Kejriwal had got two back-to-back majorities. Now people of Delhi were dissatisfied with Arvind Kejriwal and they gave BJP the chance. So their dissatisfaction with the incumbent government. And one of the reasons of dissatisfaction was the issue of corruption. Many surveys said that people corruption played an important role. Aam Aadmi Party had came on the campaign against the corruption, but their leaders were accused of corruption. That changed the perception of the people. These are the political factors. And socioeconomic factors you have already answered. You said, why did you vote? Because of caste. Why did you vote? Because of religion. Why did you vote? Because of development. For example, now one scholar, if you are reading Indian Express, you will be finding his articles coming in Indian Express. His name is Christopher Zafrelli. And Christopher Zafrelli says, caste is still one of the most important determinant of voting behavior of people. The slogan of BJP in 2024 Lok Sabha elections was 400 ke par. Abki bar 400 ke par. That we will be trying to get 400 plus seats. But the BJP could not get the majority on its own. And especially in Uttar Pradesh, Samajwadi Party and Congress performed really well. They had capitalized on fear among the lower caste that if BJP gets 400 plus seats, it will change the constitution, it will do away with reservation. And that struck a chord with people of Uttar Pradesh. Muslims voted overwhelmingly for Samajwadi Party and Congress combined in 2024 Lok Sabha elections because Muslims wanted to back that coalition which was in best position to defeat BJP in Uttar Pradesh. So religion played an important role. That surveys have proved. That caste played an important role. That surveys have proved. And but why BJP got back-to-back majority in 2019, or for that matter, Congress got majority in 2009? Because on their development works. Have you heard of a scheme called Ujjwala Yojana? Subsidized LPG connection to BPL population. Have you heard of Swachh Bharat Abhiyan? Giving toilet to the people? Yes. And Congress, have you heard of Manrega? Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. So 2009, people were happy with Congress work, Manrega. People were happy with Bharat Nirman. They gave Congress majority. But the same issue of corruption, it sank Congress party in 2014 elections. Lot of scams, CWG, Commonwealth Games scams, T2G scams. Congress was accused of corruption. 2019, BJP government came back to power, greater majority than what it got in 2014 on the issue of development. What Modi government said, more governance, less government. And issue of corruption, Modi government, Prime Minister Modi said, I am not Prime Minister, I am Pradhan Sevak, servant of the people. Na khaunga, na khane dunga. That is no corruption. And that struck a chord with the people. He also used social media to connect with the voters. Because India's profile was youth. 50% of India's population is people like you, Gen Z or plus. So how he made an immediate connection with the youths. That's what Rahul Gandhi is trying to do with his Bharat Jodo Yatra and others. Connect with the voters. And this is what you have to write. So while writing, you have to give the examples. And if you are not reading newspapers, you will be doing yourself a disservice to UPSC preparation. Forget about optional. It is very important in GS as well. So this is how, what we're going to do. This is what you have to write. And this electoral behavior represents which party will be getting the mandate to rule. And this mandate to rule will decide who will be our representative and how they are going to change the tax rates. Because who has given them the consent? We, the people of India. Does Indian Constitution preamble starts with the word we the people? This term, we the people, is nothing. People are sovereign. It was given by a person who is considered as inspiration behind French Revolution, Rousseau. We the people. Sovereignty vests not in the king, but in the people. What in Hindi is called Janta Janardhan. So who empowered people? It is democracy. So we give mandate to rule to the government, and hence no taxation without representation. Our MPs decided how GST tax will be changed. And this is how, whatever concepts you are understanding, whatever concepts you are studying, you have to link it with your daily life's example to understand that concepts. And that is how we proceed during our class. So I've discussed with you basically brief discussion of paper 1, paper 2. I also took up a topic called trends in voting behavior. So I've discussed why choose PSI as an optional, brief discussion on paper 1. Now Iqbal sir, I invite him to discuss the third and fourth. Then we will take up your queries. Okay, thank you.
So students, you just had a discussion with Sushant sir on PSIR paper 1 related topics. I'll briefly help you understand the topics of PSIR paper 2. Excuse me. So let's have a discussion, students. In the handouts which you have also received, and the online students, you also have the syllabus of PSIR paper 2. So let's have a discussion on PSIR paper 2 syllabus, and I'll briefly let you know about all the important topics of the syllabus and also how you should approach this syllabus. That's what we're going to discuss now. It is, I believe, given to you on page number 9 of your handout. On page number 9 of your handout, you have the PSIR paper 2 syllabus. Let's have a discussion on that. So this is your paper 2 syllabus. So PSIR paper 2 also is divided into two sections, section A and section B. Like you had just had a discussion on PSIR paper 1 syllabus, which is also divided into two sections. Paper 2 also has these two sections. I will briefly help you understand these all these chapters of the syllabus. Let's first of all have a discussion on section A of the syllabus. Section A of the syllabus is titled as Comparative Politics and International Relations. So basically, in section A of your syllabus of PSIR paper 2, you have topics related to the topic called comparative politics, and you also have chapters related to IR theories, basic concepts of international relations, and also international organizations. First of all, these first three chapters of your syllabus, these are related to this topic called comparative politics. Now, what do you mean by comparative politics, students? As the name itself suggests, in order to have better understanding of international politics, in order to have better understanding of politics operating at the international level, it is very important to understand and compare political systems of different countries. When we compare political systems of different states, that is what we describe as comparative politics. Comparative politics is the study of doing a comparison between the different political systems of different states, and all political systems, they operate differently. For example, India is a democratic state. Even America is a democratic state. But do you think the political system of India and America is the same? No, it's not the same. We have a prime ministerial form of a democracy, a parliamentary form of democracy, whereas Americans have a presidential form of democracy. It's even though they both are democracies, but the political system is very different. It is very different. In presidential form of democracy, the president is not part of the legislature, whereas in a parliamentary form of democracy, the prime minister and the council of ministers are part of the parliament. They have to be the members of the parliament, either Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. For example, what is the retirement age of Supreme Court judges in India? Any guesses? 65 years of age. What is the retirement age of Supreme Court judges of the American Supreme Court? US Supreme Court, can you guess what is the retirement age? There is no retirement age. They are judges till death. So therefore, rules are very different. Rules of Indian political system and American political system is very different. They also have an independent judiciary. We also have an independent judiciary, but very different nature. Then also, America is also a federal country. India is also a federal country, but our federalism and American federalism is very different. They have a presidential form of a democracy. We have a prime ministerial form of a democracy. So we have to do these comparisons. We have to understand, you must be you must be reading about this in newspapers these days, how Trump has gone completely crazy. He is imposing tariffs on India. He's also cancelled all the H-1B visas. If you want an H-1B visa, you'll have to pay $100,000 as fee. So he's making life very difficult for Indians, and he's taken a very hostile attitude towards India. Why is Trump behaving in this manner? If you want to understand Trump's behavior, why Trump is following such policies, you will have to understand the political system of US. What is the political system of US? What is the public sentiment in US? What is the politics happening in USA right now? There are two political parties. It's a bi-party system. One is Democrats, other is Republicans. Trump is a Republican. What is a Republican philosophy? What is a Democrat philosophy? Joe Biden was a Democrat. You have to understand the political system of America if you want to understand why Trump is behaving in this manner. So therefore, students, as far as international politics is concerned, if you want to have better understanding of international politics, then you must, and we will have to do cross comparison of political systems of different states. This is called comparative politics. When we compare political systems of different states, that is called comparative politics. And your first 3 chapters of syllabus is related to comparative politics. Now, when you do comparative politics in political science, there are multiple methods which have been suggested, multiple theories which have been suggested, which we can use to do comparative politics. For example, the political economy approach, political sociology approach, systems approach. These approaches also have its limitations. Political culture approach, political development approach, political modernization approach. There are several approaches which have been suggested to do comparative politics, and we will discuss that in this first chapter. The second chapter, students, is state in comparative politics. It is also very important to compare state. You know what is a state, by the way? What is a state? When I utter the word state in my political science lectures, what do I mean? Do you think I'm talking about states of India? I'm talking about Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh. No, the state means a nation, a country. The term state, if I just briefly tell you what is definition of state, a political entity which has following 4 features is known as a state. Which are these 4 features? First is a sovereignty. Second is a territory. Third is a population. Fourth is a government. So any political entity which has these 4 essential features is known as a state. Sovereignty, territory, population, and a government. So basically, what is state? A sovereign government having control over a territory and governing a population is known as a state. That's what a state is. And when I say government, when I say state has 4 features, and I tell students about these 4 features, very often students, they misunderstand me while So whenever I define this, state is a political entity with 4 features: sovereignty, territory, population, and government. So whenever I say government, a lot of students, they tend to misunderstand me. A lot of students, they believe that when I say government, they mean this. They believe that I'm talking about the kind of government which we have. What kind of government we have in India? A democratic form of government. So in this definition, I don't care what is the type of the government. It may be a democracy like India, or it may not be a democracy. I don't care. All I need is a government. It may be of any type. Any type. It may be democracy, authoritarian regime, it may be dictatorship, military rule, any type of government. All we need is a sovereign government. So if there is a sovereign government which has control over territory and govern population, that is known as a state. And what is international politics? International politics is study of relations between the states of the world. India, the state of India and state of US, what relationship they have? State of India, state of Russia, what relationship they have? This is what we study in international politics. We study interstate politics. So whenever I utter the word state in the class, that means I'm talking about a nation. I'm not talking about the federal constituents of India. And students, this therefore, even North Korea is a state. What is the kind of government in North Korea? It's a dictatorship. You must have heard about the dictator Kim Jong-un. Even Saudi Arabia is a state. What is the type of government in Saudi Arabia? It's a monarchy ruled by a royal family, Al Saud royal family. You must have heard about Mohammed bin Salman. Even Iran is a state. What kind of a government do you have in Iran? In Iran, you have theocracy. Okay, what is a theocracy? Theocracy is when the spiritual leader, religious leader is appointed as the head of state. Such states are called theocracies. Who is the spiritual leader of Iran? Ayatollah Khamenei. Ayatollah Khamenei is spiritual leader, religious leader of Iran. Even Myanmar is a state. What kind of type of government do you have in Myanmar? Myanmar is a military ruled state. And even India is a state which has a democratic government. So my point is that I don't care what is the type of the government. I don't care what is the type of the government. In this definition, just give me government which is a sovereign, which has control over a territory and govern population. I call it a state. That is what a state is. That is what a state is. And international politics is nothing but study of relations between the states of the world. So we study in comparative politics. This is what I was discussing with you. In comparative politics, we basically study the political systems of different states and compare it. And also in the second chapter here in your syllabus, states in comparative perspective. So what do you mean by state in comparative perspective? Basically, we compare the characteristics of state formation in different parts of the world. Because there can be different types of state. For example, there may be a capitalist state, there may be a socialist state, there may be developed countries, advanced industrialized countries, or there may be developing countries. In all these different types of states, the state formation is different. Nature of state is different. For example, India is a democratic state. America is also a democratic state. But America is a developed country, advanced, industrialized society, whereas India is a developing country. So the state formation in US is very different from India. So that also comparison we have to do. What are the differences and similarities and dissimilarities between state in the capitalist world, in the socialist world, in the advanced industrialized world, in the developing world. Then also, students, the next chapter is politics of representation. We also have to study politics of representation also all over the world, how politics of representation has been taking place, representation and participation. So which are those entities which would help in a representative democracy? Do you agree that in politics of representation, in a representative democracy, political parties play a role, pressure groups play a role, social movements play a role? So that is what we study here. We study in this particular chapter the role of political parties, the role of pressure groups, the role of social movements all around the world. And all this has been happening all around the world. For example, you may have heard a few years ago, there was this movement emerged in the world, hashtag Black Lives Matter. You remember that? George Floyd killing, that was a social movement. Few years ago, there was a movement, hashtag Me Too. You remember that? Me Too movement, social movement. And even in India, we have seen social movements emerging. We have seen pressure groups. You must have seen a few years ago, there was this huge farmers' protest in India. And that was done by pressure groups like Bharatiya Kisan Union. So what is the role of pressure groups? What is the role of political parties? What is the role of social movements in democracy all around the world? And also we have to do cross comparison, because I told you these 3 chapters are related to comparative politics. We'll have to do cross comparison. What is the nature of political parties in America and what is the nature of political parties in India? Comparing Indian political parties with European political parties, with American political parties, comparing Indian pressure groups with European and American pressure groups. So we have to do cross comparison of this. So these 3 chapters, these first 3 chapters, they are related to comparative politics, where we do compare political systems of different states. Then the next chapter, students, is the chapter of globalization. In fact, multiple places in the syllabus, this is mentioned, globalization. And multiple parts of the chapter, in multiple places in the syllabus, you would find globalization. You have this, chapter 4 is also about globalization. Here also you see globalization. So globalization is a very important part of the syllabus, because we have to understand, if we want to understand international politics, we have to understand that today we are living in a globalized world. We are living in a globalized world. We are living in a cobweb world. We are living in a complex interdependence world. So what is globalization? What do we understand by globalization? What is the impact of globalization on developed countries and developing countries? Why once upon a time globalization was the favorite idea for USA used to promote globalization. USA used to promote free trade, but the same US today has turned their back against globalization. Globalization is all about free trade. America used to promote the idea of free trade, but now the same America is against the idea of free trade. Now the same America is imposing tariff barriers on states. You must have seen what Donald Trump is doing right now. So why that change has happened? What is the crisis of globalization today? Which states are benefiting from globalization today? What has been the impact of globalization on the developed world, the developing world, and also the emerging economies? Which are emerging economies? Have you heard about this term called emerging economies? Have you heard about this term BRICS? Which more countries have now joined it. Now it has become BRICS plus. These are emerging economies. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, Indonesia. These are emerging economies. And how globalization is having an impact on them. That is also we have to discuss. A detailed discussion of globalization we have to do in our PSIR paper 2 classes. Several questions are asked. The topic of free trade, the topic of imposing tariffs on states, all of this is related to globalization and crisis of globalization which is unfolding in the world today. Then also the next chapter, and I would say students, I always tell my students that this is the most important chapter of PSIR paper 2. In fact, my PSIR paper 2 classes, when I'll teach you PSIR, I start teaching with this chapter. This is the foundation of PSIR paper 2. That is approaches to study international relations. Approaches to study international relations. So this is the most important chapter of PSIR paper 2, and this is what one I would recommend that anybody who is preparing for PSIR must take this particular chapter very seriously. Basically, it is what? It is basically theories of IR. Theories of IR. You may call it approaches to study IR, or you may call it theories of IR. It's one and the same thing. And basically, students, when we study international politics, we do find that there are different theoretical narratives which have been proposed to do study of international politics. Different approaches have been recommended to study international relations. Different narratives have been proposed to study international relations. That is what we understand by theories of IR or approaches of IR. And we must study, for example, there is a theory called realism. There is a theory called idealism. There is a theory called Marxism. There's a theory called functionalism. There's a theory called social constructivism. There's a theory called systems approach. Then there is postmodernism, feminism, English school. Multiple such theories do exist. Feminist perspectives to study in IR. In international relations, students, we do see a very big problem which often takes place in IR. That problem is called war. Right now also wars are taking place in the world. Russia and Ukraine are fighting war, and Israel and Hamas are fighting a war. India fought multiple wars with Pakistan in the past, in China in the past. Who are the biggest sufferers in wars? Women and children. Women and children are the biggest sufferers in wars. Right now also in Gaza, majority of the casualties are women and children and infants. And perspectives of women are ignored in international politics. Women perspectives are ignored in international politics. Women rights are ignored in international politics. How many women candidates got an opportunity to become the Secretary General of United Nations? Who is the Secretary General of UN right now, by the way? Antonio Guterres. How many women candidates got an opportunity to become Secretary General of UN in the past? Zero. Not even single woman candidate has been able to become the Secretary General of United Nations. Women perspectives are completely ignored. We have to take that into also consideration while studying IR. While studying IR, we must also give importance to women perspectives. This is what the theory of feminism says. Similarly, you have multiple theories: Marxist theory, constructivist theory, functionalist theory, idealist theory, realist theory. Multiple theories are there to study international relations. If you want to score good marks in PSIR paper 2, this is the foundation of PSIR paper 2. A student who doesn't have clarity over theories of IR can never ever score good marks in PSIR paper 2. Because students, you have to learn the skill to use theories while studying IR, to use theories while attempting your questions. There is a problem with students face. Sushant sir just had a discussion with you, in which Sushant sir told you that there is a lot of convergence between PSIR syllabus and the GS syllabus. So IR syllabus is in the GS also, and IR we study in a PSIR as well. But students, they fail to understand that there's a difference between PSIR answers and GS answers. So same IR topics are mentioned in the GS syllabus also. For example, you study India-US relations in the PSIR class, you study India-Pakistan relations in the PSIR class, you study same US and Pakistan relations in the GS lecture as well. But while attempting the exam, you must know there has to be a difference between the GS answer and the PSIR answer. If you end up writing GS answers in your PSIR paper, which majority of students do, then you would not get good marks. So the $1 million question here is that how do you differentiate between a PSIR answer and a GS answer? The differentiating factor, students, is a theories. Differentiating factor is theories. For example, if I'm attempting a GS paper, I'm attempting GS paper 2 in the mains examination, and I get a question, examine India-Pakistan relations in the light of the recent Operation Sindoor. So in the GS paper, in the GS answer, I will just do a factual analysis. Just a factual analysis, what happened, a Pahalgam terror attack took place, Pakistan has been sponsoring terrorism against India, India has militarily responded with the help of Operation Sindoor, what has been the impact of that, how India has benefited from that. A factual analysis we will do in the GS paper. But when it comes to the PS, if the same question, ditto same question, examine India-Pakistan relations in the light of Operation Sindoor, if the same question is asked in the PSIR paper, my approach will be different. In the PSIR answer, in the PSIR exam, you are not just supposed to do a factual analysis. In PSIR, you are supposed to write academic answers, academically rich answers, analytical answers. And how do you write academically rich and analytical answers? With the help of the use of theories of IR. If the same question I get India-Pakistan question in the PSIR paper, I will illustrate facts, but at the same time, I will also use theories. I will use theories and write down what is a realist perspective on India-Pakistan relations. What is the idealist perspective on India-Pakistan relations? What is the Marxist perspective on India-Pakistan relations? I will use theories. Then I will also use the viewpoints of experts, viewpoints of scholars. What is the views of scholars like C. Raja Mohan, like Professor Happy Mohan Jacob, like Rakesh Sood, like a former NSAs like Shiv Shankar Menon, Mr. Narayanan? What are their viewpoints on India-Pakistan relations? That also I will quote. And then I will also illustrate facts and examples. So PSIR answer must include theories, must include experts, must include views of scholars and examples, and also the important key concepts of IR. Important key concepts of IR, which also is in the syllabus, which also I will teach you. For example, India-Pakistan suffer from security dilemma. What is a security dilemma? It's an IR concept, which has been given by the theory of realism. India-Pakistan, they enjoy nuclear deterrence. What is nuclear deterrence? It's an IR concept given by theory of realism. So important key concepts of IR, theories of IR, scholarly viewpoints, all this is required in your PSIR answer. Then only your PSIR answer will become different from a GS answer. If you just write a factual GS-like answer in a PSIR paper, you will get pathetic marks. Pathetic. 50 out of 250. Okay? Because it is not a GS paper. It is an optional paper. Your approach has to be different. In the optional paper, the expectation of the UPSC is that the candidate must have knowledge up till the level of BA Honors. BA Honors Political Science and International Relations. That should be the level of knowledge which you have in your optional paper. Whereas in GS, the expectation is just generic knowledge. So you cannot write a generic answer in your PSIR paper. You have to write an academically rich answer and analytical answer. And that you can do by using theories, scholarly views, and key concepts. That is why I always tell my students, the most important chapter of PSIR paper 2 is approaches to study IR, theories of IR. If you have clarity on theories of IR, then you can, all your PSIR paper 2 answers, their quality will improve. You can use these theories in all your questions of PSIR paper 2. So this is the most important chapter of PSIR paper 2, theories of IR, approaches to study international relations. In fact, my initial lectures, first couple of weeks, I will only concentrate on teaching theories of IR. The next chapter, again, the second most important chapter in the syllabus is key concepts of IR. Key concepts of IR. What are key concepts of IR? How do you define national security? How do you define national interest? How do we define nuclear deterrence, balance of power, collective security, globalization, proliferation, disarmament? These are all important terms and ideas in important concepts of international relations. That is your next chapter. After theories, the next chapter in the course will be key concepts of IR. These are the two foundations of your PSIR paper 2. These are the two foundations of PSIR paper 2, approaches study IR and also key concepts in international relations. So this is there. Then you students, the next chapter in the syllabus is changing international political order. I would like to ask you a question, all of you students. What do you think, students? IR is static or dynamic? It is dynamic. IR is always evolving. International politics is not a static discipline. It is always evolving. You know about Hiroshima and Nagasaki? Hiroshima and Nagasaki nuclear attacks. Who did attack on which country? USA bombed Japan. USA dropped nuclear weapons on Japan, Hiroshima and Nagasaki during Second World War. This is the worst thing you can do to a country. The worst thing you can do to a state is drop nuclear weapons on them. इससे बुरा तो कुछ नहीं कर सकते ना आप किसी के साथ, that you nuke somebody. That's the worst thing you can do. That's what America did to Japan. That means America and Japan were greatest of rivals during the Second World War. What is the status of America-Japan relationship today? Today they are best friends. Today they are sworn brothers of each other. That means in IR, there are no permanent friends. There are no permanent enemies. In IR, there's only one thing permanent. What is permanent? The desire to sustain your national security, Rashtra Suraksha, national security and national interest. So in IR, friends and enemies will keep on changing. The dynamics of international politics will keep on changing. IR is never static. It's always evolving. Once upon a time, there used to be a word, we used to describe it bipolar. Then it became a unipolar. Now we are heading towards a multipolar. Once upon a time, there used to be a word called Cold War period. Then Cold War ended. Now we are heading towards a new Cold War. So IR is never static. International political order, the world order is always changing. Always changing. World order means nature of international politics is not static. It's always evolving. It may be bipolar, unipolar, multipolar. It may be a cobweb world, complex interdependence world. These are all IR concepts. So it's all always changing, evolving. For example, India students. India had a terrible relationship with America 40 years ago. Because 40 years ago, India was concerned more closer towards a country called Soviet Union, which does not exist anymore, by the way. But Soviet Union was to be our best friend. And Soviet Union and US were rivals. So we did not have a good relationship with America 40 years ago. And this same America had excellent relations with our hostile neighbor, which is Pakistan. But in the last 4 decades, we have seen that India-US relations have changed. India and US have developed very close relations now, friendly relations now. Whereas America's relationship with Pakistan has deteriorated, and Pakistan has developed closeness with America's rival, which is China. So IR is not static. 40 years ago, we used to support Palestine. In the Israel-Palestine dispute, India had much closer relations with Palestine, and we did not have a very good relationship with Israel. But now our policy has changed. Now India has developed excellent relations with Israel. So much so that Israeli Prime Minister, who is the Israeli Prime Minister? Benjamin Netanyahu. He recently said, India-Israel marriage is made in heaven. That is the kind of change we can see in India-Israel relationship. So IR is never static, IR is always evolving. Now you have this gentleman called Trump. He's completely again, he's trying to adversely, deteriorate now relations between India and US. Whatever policies he's implementing, that's having a bad impact on India-US relations now. So earlier we did not have a good relationship. Then we had developed a very good relationship, and now again the relationship is deteriorating in the context of policies of Donald Trump. So IR is never static. IR is always evolving. So the next chapter is changing international political order. That means evolution of international politics. So evolution of international politics, history of IR we have to discuss in this chapter. How after the end of Second World War, we saw a rise of superpowers. We saw the rise of Cold War. And during Cold War, we also saw a rise of non-aligned countries, NAM countries, non-aligned movement. India was one of the NAM nations. Also, how Soviet Union disintegrated, how Cold War ended, how bipolarity got replaced by unipolarity. And now we are seeing the American hegemony, American dominance in the world is also now declining. And now American hegemony is now being challenged by China. And now we are talking about the fact that we are now heading towards a new Cold War between US and China. So the entire evolution, how international politics has evolved, that we discuss in this chapter. The next chapter, students, is evolution of international economic system. The evolution of the international economic system. In this particular chapter, students, we will study Bretton Woods institutions. In this chapter, we do a detailed study of Bretton Woods institutions. What are these Bretton Woods institutions? Students, during the Second World War, Western countries, European countries in America, they decided to have a conference. They decided to have a conference in a resort town called Bretton Woods in New Hampshire in US. And in that conference, they had called up that conference to decide, to meet and to decide that how can they create global financial and economic institutions which will help them stabilize the world economy. So in that conference, in the resort town called Bretton Woods, Bretton Woods was the name of the resort where they had this conference in America. In that conference, these countries, they signed an agreement called Bretton Woods Agreement. And as a result of the Bretton Woods Agreement, certain international financial and economic institutions were created to stabilize world economy. Which were those institutions? IMF, World Bank, and an trade agreement was signed called GATT, General Agreement on Trade and Tariffs, which now GATT now has been replaced by WTO, World Trade Organization. These global financial and economic institutions are known as Bretton Woods institutions. They regulate the world economy. They help in stabilizing the world economy. So in this particular chapter, we do a detailed study of these institutions, IMF, World Bank, and WTO. What is India's stand in WTO? India in WTO, IMF, and World Bank has been trying to represent the interests of the global South. India is trying to become the voice of the global South. What is global South, students? Global South, majority of the rich countries of the world, and I would again clarify myself, majority. Of course, there will be exceptions. Majority of the rich countries of the world are located in the northern hemisphere. Therefore, the rich world is described as global north. And majority of the poor countries of the world are located in the southern hemisphere. Of course, there will be exceptions also. And therefore, the poor world, the developing world is described as global south. And India has always tried to play a leadership role among the global South as a member of NAM, also as a member of WTO, World Trade Organization. So a detailed study of these institutions we do in this particular chapter. Then the next chapter, students, is regarding United Nations. Of course, UN, a very important chapter, a detailed study of what is UN, why was UN formed, theoretical perspectives on UN, realist perspective, liberal perspective, Marxist perspective, theoretical perspectives of IMF and World Bank and WTO also we do. What is wrong with UN? What are problems of UN? Why UN needs reforms and changes? What has been India's contribution in United Nations? What has been India's role in United Nations? What sort of reforms India is demanding in United Nations? India wants to become a permanent member of the UN Security Council. So all this detailed study of it's a favorite topic of UPSC UN, and they ask several questions on this. UN is based on which concepts, which theories, but in PSR paper, questions will be theoretical. They would not be factual. You have to understand the difference between the PSI and the GS requirement. And the next chapter, students, is regionalization of world politics. What do I mean by regionalization? Students, United Nations have been losing relevance because UN was formed to maintain international peace. And do you think UN is able to achieve that objective? Repeatedly, we are seeing that UN is failing in maintaining international peace. UN has failed to prevent Russia-Ukraine war, failed to prevent Israel-Hamas war. Human rights violations are taking place in Israel. UN is not able to do anything about it. So these are all UN failures, prominent failures of United Nations. And UN has been hijacked by powerful states of the world. It suffers from trust deficit, democratic deficit. It has been losing credibility and legitimacy in the world. It is not willing to do necessary reforms. Therefore, UN has been losing relevance. More and more countries, especially states of the global south, they have been losing faith in UN. And therefore, instead of only depending on UN for world peace, a lot of states are now developing regional organizations. Regional organizations are also in our syllabus. Regionalization of world politics. What is the difference between a regional organization and an international organization? In an international organization, members, they can be from the entire world. All the continents, members from all continents, they join an international organization. IMF, World Bank, WTO, UN, these are all international organizations. But a regional organization is where the members belong to a particular region only. For example, students, you have a European Union where you have 27 countries of Europe as members. You have African Union where you have countries of Africa as members. You have SAARC, South Asian Association of Regional Cooperation, where you have South Asian countries as members. You have ASEAN Association of Southeast Asian nations, where you have Southeast Asian countries as members. Then BIMSTEC, then APEC. There's so many of them. So these regional organizations are also in our syllabus. Then also the next chapter is contemporary global concerns. There are certain global challenges which are emerging today. Global concerns which are emerging today. And they need to address these challenges. Which are these challenges? That's what we discuss in this particular chapter. First of all, do you think, and this year also questions were asked in the exam on this, do you think there is a challenge maintaining democracy in the world today? A lot of democratic states in the world today are suffering political crisis. For example, recently you may have seen Gen Z protest in Nepal. Couple of years ago, you saw similar situation in Bangladesh. Couple of years ago, you saw similar situation in Sri Lanka. Wars are being also fought by countries like USA to promote democracy. So this is what, democracy, contemporary global concern. Also, all over the world, you see violation of human rights. What are human rights? Theories of human rights. What kind of a perspective on human rights we should follow? Perspective of the global north on human rights is different from the perspective of global south. What is India's perspective on human rights? Human rights violations, that is also in the syllabus. Then also environment has become a global issue, very important global issue. Preservation of the environment, fighting against a problem called climate change and global warming. These environment is an issue where states cannot resolve this issue individually. They will have to cooperate with each other. States of the world will have to come together, cooperate with each other, and preserve the environment and mitigate climate change. So there are theoretical perspectives on environment also we have to discuss. Then gender justice. I just told you gender justice is we study by studying the theory of feminism in IR. Feminists, they say IR is a gender blind discipline because it does completely ignores women perspectives. And worst sufferers of wars are women and children. Then also terrorism, big global concern which has emerged. India has a very vocal point of view on terrorism. Then also nuclear proliferation. What do you mean by nuclear proliferation, students? spread of nuclear weapons in the world. If more and more countries are acquiring nuclear weapons, that means nuclear proliferation. For example, right now, Iran is desperate to acquire nuclear weapons. Right now, students, there are 9 nuclear weapon states in the world. There are 9 states which have nuclear weapons. Do you know which are these 9? US, UK, France, Russia, China, India, Pakistan, North Korea, and Israel. If more countries start developing nuclear weapons beyond these 9, then that is called nuclear proliferation. And nuclear proliferation has been happening in the world. Initially, only 5 states had nuclear weapons. Now the number has increased to 9. Tomorrow, this may increase to 10. It may increase to 11. That's called nuclear proliferation, which is not good for world peace. Which is not good for world peace. So how can we counter nuclear proliferation? How can we achieve nuclear disarmament? That means a world free of nuclear weapons. What are theoretical perspectives on nuclear weapons? Use of nuclear weapons. All this we study in this chapter. So these are major important global concerns which we study in this particular chapter. So this is your section A of PSIR paper 2. Now let's study the section B. So you will notice, students, section A is more theoretical. Section A of PSIR paper 2 is more theoretical, whereas section B is entirely on India's foreign policy. What is India's relationship with the world? India and the world. In section A, we study theories of IR, concepts of IR, international organizations, regional organizations, comparative politics. It's more of a theoretical part of your syllabus. But section B of PSIR paper 2 is studying India's relationship with the world. What has been India's relationship with the world? India's relationship with the several states of the world, India and the world. So first of all, the first chapter, every year we get several questions from this. The first chapter is determinants of Indian foreign policy and institutions of Indian foreign policy. What do you mean by determinants of Indian foreign policy, students? Determinants means factors which play a role in formulation of a foreign policy. Certain factors, they do influence foreign policy making, and these are described as determinants of a foreign policy. Can you help me understand those factors? Do you think geography plays a role? A country is a landlocked country or it is a marine nation, it will depend, it will influence your foreign policy. Do you think culture plays a role? History plays a role? Domestic political system plays a role? Your philosophical culture plays a role? These are all factors which play a very important role in determining foreign policy. What is the international political structure? Whether it's a bipolar world, multipolar world, that will also have an impact on your foreign policy. So international factors, domestic factors, culture, history, geography, these are all factors which play a role in influencing India's foreign policy. Why? I told you, India wants to become a voice of the global South. Why? Why? Role of history in Indian foreign policy. India has seen colonial oppression. India has colonial history. Majority of the global South countries, they suffered colonial exploitation. Majority of the global South countries are post-colonial states. They are post-colonial states. You know what is a post-colonial state? A state which has suffered colonial exploitation. So this common colonial history which we have, that is one of the factors why India has always supported global South. So history, geography, culture plays a role in formulation of foreign policy. Did you recently see the India hosting the G20 summit in 2023? What was the theme of the summit? It was all over Delhi on all the roads. G20 summit theme. What was the theme of the summit? Vasudev Kutumbakam. What do you mean by that? World is one Kutumb. Kutumb means one family. India wants the welfare, happiness, and security of the entire world. This Vasudev Kutumbakam, which was a theme of the G20 summit, has come from where? This term has come from where? From India's history, from India's Vedas. So role of history and culture in making foreign policy. That is what we study here, determinants of Indian foreign policy. Then also, which institutions play a role in formulation of Indian foreign policy? Do you think PMO plays a role? Prime Minister's Office, Ministry of External Affairs, NSA, National Security advisor, role of the parliament, role of the cabinet, the role of think tanks, role of universities, role of private sector, role of media houses. These are institutions who all play a role in formulating India's foreign policy. So that is also what we study. So in the first chapter here, we study the determinants of Indian foreign policy and institutions of Indian foreign policy. Then I told you in the Cold War chapter itself, I told you India was one of those states which supported the policy of non-alignment during Cold War. India was a NAM country. So what was India's role in NAM? What is NAM's relevance today? Favorite question of UPSC, that is NAM still relevant or not? India is now shifting from non-alignment to multi-alignment. Now our stand is changing. All that we discuss in the second chapter. And the third chapter, students, is India's relationship with South Asia. India's relationship with South Asia. That means India's relationship with its South Asian neighbors, which includes all our neighbors, which are our South Asian neighbors. Pakistan, Maldives, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan. These are all our South Asian neighbors. A lot of students have misunderstanding. China is not part of South Asia. China is our neighbor. Myanmar is also our neighbor, but they are not part of South Asia. China is part of East Asia, and Myanmar is part of Southeast Asia. South Asia is a region which is south of the natural divide. Which natural divide? Himalayas. So what is India's relationship with South Asia? What is India's role in SAARC, South Asian Association of Regional Cooperation? India's relationship with South Asian countries. That's what all countries one by one we discuss in these lectures. And then also India's Look East policy, which now has been renamed as Act East policy. This policy we have launched to develop good relationship with the Southeast Asia and East Asia. So that also we study here. India's relationship with Southeast Asia in this particular chapter. And also what kind of conflicts, river disputes, water disputes, border disputes which exist in South Asia, which makes it difficult for South Asian countries to cooperate with each other. That is why SAARC has been failing. It is often said that SAARC is the worst example of regional cooperation on the planet. SAARC has been formed, South Asian Association of Regional Cooperation. This organization was formed to encourage cooperation between South Asian countries, to make South Asia more peaceful and stable. But it has miserably failed. Why it has failed? All that we study in this particular chapter. And the next chapter, students, is India and the global South. That means India's relationship with the global South countries. Global South countries, which include countries of the continent of Africa, continent of Latin America. What is Latin America, students? Latin America is South America. So our relationship with Africa and South American states, that is what we study in this chapter. As I told you, India has always been trying to become a voice of the global South. Then India's relationship with the major states of the world, major powers of the world, US, European Union, Japan, China, Russia. These are also in our syllabus. Then what has been India's role in the United Nations? What has been India's contributions in UN? How is India trying to demand a permanent membership of the UN Security Council? What is India's point of view on UN reforms? What is India's nuclear policy? India and the nuclear question. What is India's nuclear policy? India is a nuclear weapon state. So what is India's nuclear doctrine? As you may be aware, India's nuclear doctrine is based on a principle called NFU, no first use. What do you mean by no first use? What do you mean by credible minimum deterrence? What are the red lines of India when we talk about nuclear doctrine of India? How India has decided not to use nuclear weapon against non-nuclear weapon states. Why India has not signed treaties like NPT, treaties like CTBT. Why India supports FMCT. These are all treaties which are related to non-proliferation and disarmament. And India has not supported NPT and CTBT. India has become a nuclear weapon state. What is India's nuclear doctrine? These are all the topics which we study in this chapter. The complete analysis of India's nuclear doctrine we do. Complete analysis of India's stand on nuclear disarmament we do. India has never been supportive of the use of nuclear weapons. Gandhi had once said nuclear weapons are the most diabolical use of science. So India has been demanding disarmament. But what kind of disarmament? Disarmament means world free of nuclear weapons. So all that we study in this particular chapter. Then the last chapter, which by mistake typing error is not in the handout, but the last chapter is India's relationship with the West Asia. India's relationship with West Asia, India's relationship with Afghanistan and West Asia also. So that is in the last. What is India's point of view on the world order? India and the world order. You know, understand what is West Asia? West Asia is this part of the world where you have countries like Saudi Arabia, Iran, Qatar, Israel, Iraq. This is called West Asia. We call it West Asia. The Western countries, they call it Middle East. Region is the same. It's just the vantage point is different. If you are sitting in New York and you're looking towards Saudi Arabia, you're looking towards which direction? You're sitting in New York and you're looking towards Saudi Arabia, you're looking towards which direction? East. And your extreme east is China and Middle East is Saudi Arabia. Therefore, the Western people, they call it Middle East. But if you're sitting in Rajendra Nagar in New Delhi and you're looking towards Saudi Arabia, which direction you are looking towards? West. Therefore, we describe this region as a West Asia. So this is your PSIR syllabus. Section A and Section B. I will teach this entire PSIR paper 2. I will have around 80 to 85 lectures with you in which I will complete this PSIR paper 2 syllabus. Detailed study of all of this. Now students, now that we have discussed the syllabus, now I would also like to have a discussion with you on certain basic features of the course, just to help you understand that what kind of a strategy we should follow and we have been following in order to help students prepare in the best possible manner. So special features of the optional classroom program, which is mentioned to you on page number 4 of your handout. So let's have a discussion on this. Students, you know, our aim here, myself and my esteemed colleague, Dr. Sushant Verma, both of us has been teaching PSIR optional since many years and we have years of experience. And we have realized that if students, they come to us for PSIR, we must provide them a one-stop solution. One-stop solution. What has happened over the years, students? Pattern of the exam has changed. Pattern has changed now. Now the nature of questions have also changed. So there is a need to teach students in such a manner that which would adhere to the requirement of the examination. We have also realized, students, that now the kind of pattern of exam which we have right now, teaching is just 50% of the job. And memorizing the content and syllabus is just 50% of the job. Your other 50% is your writing skills. Writing skills. How will you express yourself in the exam? How will you express whatever you have learned in the class in the exam? How will you express whatever you have read in the notes in the exam? In given amount of time and in given amount of a word limit. While attempting the PSIR paper, you will have 3 limitations. Word limit, time limit and a space limit. You will have to fight against these 3 challenges. There is a time limit. You have to attempt 19 questions in 3 hours. And there is also a word limit for questions. And there's also a space limit. What do I mean by space limit? Space limit means when you attempt the mains examination, you will get an answer script in which you will be asked to attempt questions. The question will be printed on the top of the page and then you will be given space to write down the answer. In the given space, you will have to write your answer. It's not like your college exam where if you attempt a question and if you think that you haven't written the right answer, you made a mistake. And then what do you do in your college exams? In your college exams, you cut down the whole page and then you say, PTO, sir, please turn over on the next page. It's not like that. You can't do that in the UPSC exam. You won't be able to get any extra sheets. You're given an answer script in which questions are printed and you are given a defined amount of space. In that defined amount of space, you have to write your answers. You cannot get any extra sheets. You can't go outside that space. You have to follow those rules. There would be 3 types of questions you would be getting. 10-mark questions, 15-mark questions, and 20-mark questions. For 10-mark questions, there will be 2 pages given to you to write. You have to write within 2 pages. That is all. For 15-mark questions, you will be given 3 pages. For 20-mark questions, you will be given 4 pages. That is all. So you are fighting with 3 challenges in the exam. Time limit, word limit, and a space limit. It has become very challenging. Therefore, it is very important also to focus on writing skills of the students. It is not just memorizing the syllabus, but also writing skills. And also, it is very important to provide students with exam-ready study material so that they do not have to, go to have to fend for themselves and run from pillar to post to get adequate notes. So that's what our objective is, to provide one-stop solution for students in our PSIR course. Our focus is on conceptual clarity and theoretical understanding. In our classes, students, our classes are designed in such a manner that our focus always is, our objective always is to help students develop crystal clear conceptual clarity and theoretical understanding of topics, because that is what is required to qualify this exam. UPSC, year by year, we are seeing the trend of the paper. UPSC is not interested in those candidates who have done rote learning of notes. UPSC is interested in those candidates who have conceptual clarity and theoretical understanding of the topics. They test your conceptual clarity in the exam. So that is why in our classes, students, we focus on lucid explanation of the topics, help you develop crystal clear conceptual clarity and theoretical understanding. And we do not, our classes is not just mere dictation of notes. An exam focused approach is followed. You all come here, we value your time. If you come here for 2.5 hours and I sit on this cozy chair and dictate your notes for 2.5 hours, then what is the point of you coming here? Notes are anyways available in photocopy shops. So if you are coming here for 2.5 hours, and if I'm coming here for 2.5 hours, we have taken out time, both of us, so we should help each other. We should contribute something for you. So if you are here, you may not have a social sciences background, you may not have a humanities background. So what you need is somebody explaining you topics, somebody giving you conceptual clarity and theoretical understanding, not just dictating notes. So we don't have that approach. In our classes, both of us, what are we going to do? We will give you class handouts. Like you received handouts today, we gave you handouts today so that you can get to know what kind of material you will get in the classes. Whatever we teach in the class, those class notes would be given to you in the form of a class handout. Your class handout is your class notes. And the entire lecture will be focused only on explanation. It would not be a monologue. It would be a dialogue between us and you. We'll interact with each other. We will discuss topics, try and discuss examples, recent trends, and help develop conceptual clarity. And notes will be given to you in the form of class handouts. Every class, you will get a handout. Whatever topic we are discussing, for example, if it's an India-US lecture or a lecture on realism, you get handouts on a realism class notes. And that handouts I will discuss in the class. The entire notes I will discuss in the class, helping you developing conceptual clarity on the topic. So such exam-ready study material is given to you. Concise, well-researched exam-ready study material would be given to you. For our students, the students who study PSIR with us, we don't recommend them to buy any book. You don't have to buy any book. There's a huge reading list for PSIR students. Several books you have to read in order to cover PSIR. That reading list we have also given to you in the handout which you have received today. But that is for those students who are going to prepare on their own. But if you are with us, you are not required to buy any book. We would not recommend buying any book, because what we have done is that we have prepared exam-ready, well-researched, concise study material for you, which has been prepared from all these books, adhering to the requirement of the question, adhering to the requirement of the exam. What is the requirement of the exam? You have to write 150 words, 200 words, 300 words. What is the point of reading 200 pages of a chapter when you have to only write 300 words in the exam? So you need concise material, exam-ready study material. That's what we're going to provide you in the classes. In the form of class notes, we're going to provide you. And also, students, our promise to finish the course within 26 weeks. This is not again, I would say that we value your time. We all understand, and you also should understand, students. When you're preparing for civil services, you are paying a very heavy cost. Which cost are you paying? Can you help me understand? Which is the heaviest cost you are paying to prepare for civil services? Time, okay, very good. Anything else? It's called, students, opportunity cost. You are paying a heavy opportunity cost, which you are not realizing right now. Abhi nahi realize ho raha hai, kuch saal mein realize hoga that you paid a heavy opportunity cost to prepare for civil services. What is that opportunity cost? Right now, you are all graduates, and your batchmates in college, They must be pursuing higher education. Many of them must be pursuing jobs also in companies. So they have chosen a career. They are moving progress. They are doing progress in that career. But you have taken a decision to put a pause button on your career, to put a pause button on your education, because you want to take a break and prepare for civil services. That means you are foregoing all those opportunities. You have decided not to avail any opportunities of higher education or jobs because you want to prepare for civil services. That means you are paying a very heavy opportunity cost. Your batchmates, your college mates, your university mates are moving ahead in life. Somebody is doing masters, somebody must be doing some internship, somebody must be doing some job in corporate sector, in some companies, trying to develop more skills, increasing their skill sets. But you are not doing all of that. You have taken a break from all of this. So you have forgiven all these. You have not availed all these opportunities because you want to prepare for civil services, which is a great decision. But we realize that importance of that you are paying a very heavy opportunity cost. Therefore, your time is very valuable, very valuable. So classes are conducted here in our institute in such a professional manner that we won't give you a break. There would be no breaks. And we will complete the course within 5.5 months, 5 to 5.5 months. That's a promise which we fulfill all the time. And because it's not we're not going to have the system where we keep on teaching you PSIR for 10 months, for 12 months, even after the prelims exam, even after you get selected, PSIR course is going on. That's not going to happen here, okay? And still the syllabus is not covered. Still the half the syllabus is not covered. That's not what is going to happen. Full coverage of the syllabus within given time. That's a promise which we give to the students. Also, students, in our classes here, our PSI program also includes personalized guidance by the faculty members. Both of us would always stay with you. We would be there for you to help you, mentor you, and help you sail through uncharted waters of civil services. We will constantly stay in touch, and if you have any problems, you can always contact your faculty members. They would also act as your mentors as far as the focus, as far as the PSIR classes are concerned. Also, students, in our classroom program, like I told you, that one of the important aspects of your PSIR preparation is answer writing. Answer writing is very important. So, students, we have integrated answer writing program in our course. A detailed answer writing program in our course. You will have answer writing workshops. We will also teach you how to write answers in each and every lecture. In each and every lecture, when we discuss a topic, we discuss all the previous year questions. Like I was telling you, we don't recommend you to buy any book, but we recommend you to buy only one book. What is that book? That is PYQ question bank. That is all. A book which will give you previous year questions of PSIR. Now only that booklet, nothing else, which would cost 100 rupees or 120 rupees, and no other book is required. And because in every class, after we teach a topic, for example, there's a lecture on theory of realism. After that, all PYQs on realism, previous year questions will be discussed. So in the classroom, the explanation of the topic and PYQ discussion will take place. Then on the weekend, what will happen? On the weekend, there will be a weekly test. Every weekend, there would be a weekly test. Whatever we have studied during the week, for that, you will have a weekly test on PYQs of those topics at the weekend, either on Saturday or on a Sunday. It will be a small test. It would be 30-40 minutes test, only couple of questions on what we have studied in the week. Then every fortnight, you will have a sectional test. What is a sectional test? Which will be a longer test for 100 marks, 150 marks, 200 marks, which will have more topics. As we go on in the course and more topics are discussed, then we will also start holding sectional tests. And at the end of the course, we will have full-length test, FLTs. So weekly tests, sectional test, FLTs are included in the course. We will hold these regular tests with you, and all model answers will be provided to you for all the PYQs and all the questions which we ask in the test. You give a test, then you get the model answers, and then you also get evaluated feedback from the evaluators and from your faculty members, which will slowly, steadily help you develop answer writing skills. Answer writing skills are something which cannot be developed overnight. And you have to be a proactive aspirant. You have to see that the nature of the exam is now again changing. What change you can see in the exam? Students, every year we are seeing the gap between the prelims and the mains examination is progressively, every year it is reducing. There used to be a time there used to be 3.5 months between prelims and mains. Then it came down to 3 months. Now it is coming down to 2.5 months. That is the gap between the prelims paper and the mains examination. Do you think 2.5 months is insufficient to develop answer writing skills? So if you have that plan in your mind that I will qualify prelims and then only I will start writing, those 2 months are not sufficient to do it. So right now is the time that you also have to develop answer writing skills. That is the reason why answer writing program is integrated in our classroom program itself. When you are finished with our course after 5.5 months, you would be a ready product. Your answer writing skills are also developed. Your syllabus is also comprehensively covered. All notes also you have got. So these are the essential ingredients of our classroom program. And every day you will have a 2.5 hour lecture. And all paper 1 classes Sushant sir will take, paper 2 classes I will take. And you won't have any break. 7 days a week you're going to have a class, except some national holidays which may be there, because of which institute is closed. Or if God forbid, if we have a health problem, both of us, that day you may get a break. Otherwise, no break. So that is how. And all the, a lot of students, they have this doubt that there are many portions of the PSIR syllabus which is a dynamic, which are related to current developments. All those current developments and notes related to current developments also we will keep on providing you. Not just during the course, after the course also. Once your course is finished, you will continue to have access on the portal, and all the recent developments which are happening, the notes regarding that I will keep on sending you, so that you can stay updated from PSIR point of view. Notes which are relevant from not GS point of view, but from PSIR point of view. For example, the batches which passed out last year, even right now, I'm sending them notes on Trump's tariff policy, on the recent developments in international politics, Gen Z protest in Nepal. So any latest developments are happening, we would require, we continue to give material. So materials regarding current developments, everything is also provided. So these are all the essential aspects of our PSIR course. This is the strategy which we follow, which has been a very successful strategy, because following this strategy, so many of our students have been able to become successful. They have aced this exam and have got their selections from PSIR. So same strategy we follow here also. Students, I would have loved to discuss with you a topic of PSIR paper 2. I gave you notes on soft power. You may have got notes on India's soft power. Not, they are still there. You can pick up handouts from here while you leave the classroom, and also on the online students on the portal, they have been uploaded. So I would have liked to discuss that topic with you. One topic I thought I would discuss, soft power, India's soft power, and also previous year question on that. But unfortunately, students, we are running out of time. So we would also like to have a Q&A session and take your queries. So I would not be able to take that particular topic. So I have to, unfortunately, because of paucity of time, I'll have to skip that. So I'll not be able to take that topic and discuss that topic with you. That the whole intention was just to give you a feeling that what kind of topics we study in political science and international relations. So I thought I would discuss that topic, soft power topic with you, but we've run out of time, so would not be able to do that. But you can have a look at the notes, what kind of study material we give you. So now, students, that's discussion we have done. So now we would like to open up the floor for Q&A session. Whatever doubts and queries you have regarding the optional paper, we would love to answer all of them, both of us. Sushant sir is also here now. So go ahead and ask your questions if you have.
Now,
yes, go ahead.
Regarding timing of the class, that class timing will be from 2:30 to 5 p.m. Okay. Yes. Yes, yes, please. Yes.
Wouldn't it refine our answers in GS?
GS, the quoting of the scholars and their views is not required. GS is general studies. Optional is more specific. So the requirement is different. Keep that in mind. And primary thing is you have to address the demand of the examination. For GS it is different, for optional it is different.
How this option give us an upper hand in GS?
Like I told you, explained to you that Sir also explained to you, there is a overlapping between GS and the optional syllabus. So if you have PSI or optional as your optional, it will be very easy for you to attempt GS questions on polity and international relations. With your optional knowledge, you can easily attempt those questions. But what I was trying to clarify is that what you write in GS, that's very superficial, very generic content. That content would not be sufficient for your optional. For that, extra content would be required, and that also will help you. For example, students, if you represent the Indian cricket team, are you fond of cricket? So if you represent Indian cricket team like Virat Kohli does, so then can you play domestic matches, state level matches, Punjab versus Haryana matches if you are representing the India team? Of course, because if you have a talent to represent the country, you can of course represent your own state team also. Similarly, if you have done optional, writing GS answers would be very easy. IR answers in GS paper, polity answers in GS paper will be a cakewalk for you because you have done a detailed study of that in your optional paper. But one thing you have to understand, that you cannot replicate GS answers in the optional paper. There is a difference, which I explained to you what is the difference between PSIR answer and the GS answers. But PSIR knowledge would be more than sufficient for you to attempt your GS questions, and the differentiation between these answers also will teach you in the classes. Okay. Yeah. Yes, go ahead.
कुछ governance and excluding some governance and social justice issues. It depends, because sometimes UPSC changes the emphasis. Okay, sometimes governance questions are asked more, but at least 150 to that is there. At least
150 to 200 marks, that range you can expect would overlap with your optional syllabus. Of course, जो डायनेमिक टॉपिक्स हैं उनके नोट्स अपडेट होते रहते हैं. जो पिछले साल बच्चों को इंडिया नेपाल पढ़ाया, इस साल चेंज नहीं होगा कुछ उसमें. ठीक है. God has not given us the divine capability to teach you the future. We can only teach what has happened up till today. So notes will also continuously, they will keep on getting updated. New constitutional developments keep on taking place. New laws keep on coming up in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. New Supreme Court judgments keep on coming. New books written by scholars and experts would come in the market. New developments in IR will happen. So therefore, constantly the notes keep on getting updated. And those updated notes also we provide the students. Once you are with us, we would not leave your hand till you get selected. Okay. So till you are with us, we will keep on providing you updated content also. Whatever updates in notes will take place, we will provide that as well. Of course, the topics which are overlapping would be sufficient. Of course, like I told her that if you have optional knowledge of these topics, attempting GS questions would be very easy. But you have to understand GS requirement and optional requirement, which we can discuss in detail in the classes. Okay.
Now, there's one question, that is it possible for us to avail of the notes of the entire course instead of attending the course? We do not provide any postal correspondence for that. Our classes are only classroom and online and offline, and we provide notes to only our students, those who take the course. Yes.
Considering the fact that many of us will attempt in 27, the mains will happen in August or late month, so we'll get the value addition till then.
Yes.
Of course, that's what I clarified. You will keep on getting those. You qualify the prelims exam and you immediately come to us, and whatever latest material would be there, I pray to God you should qualify the prelims in 2027. If you do not qualify in 2027, if you even qualify in 28, 29, at that time also you come to us, you get in touch with us, and we provide you all the latest materials, all the current developments.
And if you see,
test series also would be conducted every year. It would be conducted after prelims. Of course, we cannot have advanced tests for your 27 exam. That would happen only after prelims only. No, in the course there is a test series. In the course, I told you there's an integrated test series.
That is inbuilt with classroom.
Inbuilt in the classroom. For that, you don't have to join separately. There'll be a weekly test, sectional test, and after that is a separate test series which will be conducted after prelims for main students. That is not part of the course. That is separate, of course, because that's a separate test series program. That's not part of the foundation course. But of course, we do give a lot of preference to our own students, and a lot of concessions are given. If our own students, they qualify prelims and come to us and write a test series, very generous treatment is given to them. Okay, fine. Anything else?
Yes. See, you have to give in the views of scholars as well as experts. Like I mentioned while teaching you that Christopher Zafrale, Pradap Bhanu Mehta, Shuhas Patel, Yogendra Yadav as far as IGP section is concerned. And Iqbal Sharma sir mentioned about Indian foreign policy.
So that is students that as you are in classes, you automatically paper one lectures, he will keep on telling you these are the scholars who are important, and we'll give you notes for that as well. We'll discuss the scholarly viewpoints also. In IR also, we'll keep on telling you these are the important scholars, and when I will be telling you also in which newspapers they are writing, so that you can keep a track of all of that. So all that discussion, of course, we'll have in the classes. Right now, in a very less amount of time, I was not able to discuss everything, but all these things would be discussed in the classes in detail.
That will be taken care of.
Yes, yes. Yes, of course, Anmol, there would be an optional workshop session, I believe, for geography as well. It would be conducted very soon, and you can attend that also if you want to. Any more doubts, online students, you have? The session will start, Abhay, on 10th of October. On 10th of October. Anything else?
If you have any, one more thing, if Vajiram students have GS and CSAT overlapping, there are multiple batches running, you can shift to other batches.
Yeah, they will make that adjustment for you. If the timings clash of your GS, CSAT or optional batches, they'll make the necessary changes and may allot you a separate CSAT or GS batch so that you can attend all the classes. Okay, that adjustment is done. And of course, even if you, like she also mentioned, and Devi Charan, you are also saying, if you want to attempt the exam in 2027, right, this is the time to do your optional, because you need time for self-study also. If you join optional program now, by March and April, your optional would be over. Then you can concentrate on GS and prelims preparation and keep on revising optional, and you would be ready for 2027 attempt. You should not procrastinate and delay doing the necessary, courses which you have to do. Thank you, Anmol. Thank you so much. You'll have to do that, Shivangi. It may be challenging if you have a GS batch also and a CSAT batch also running along with it. You have to manage and do your optional classes also, because you can't postpone it. No, especially if you're attempting next year. So you have to do it somehow. You have to manage time. You have to learn to manage time. And CSAT batch, I believe, is a smaller batch. It would not last more than 2 to 3 months, and you would get over with your CSAT lectures very soon. You should plan accordingly. You have to do all these classes in a period of 1.5 years, and you should spread batches over the period. If you think that you're attempting in 2027, right now you're attempting 2 classes, GS and CSAT classes, you won't be able to manage a third class along with it, then you can join in the April batch. There'll be an optional batch in the April month also. You take that call. You take that call. When are you going to appear in the exam? What is your target year? And how can you manage your time? But it would always be challenging. I must tell you, it would always be challenging. It is challenging today. It would be challenging in the future also. It's never going to be easy. You always have to learn to manage your time.
And keep in mind that if you join early, you will have early bird advantage.
Yes.
So that you can devote more time for your revision as well as, syncing it with GS.
Yes, because that happens where a lot of times students, they keep on postponing classes and they're attending classes till 1 week before the prelims exam. Then what's the point of that? You're not a superhuman, and then expect themselves to clear the exam. Then they fail in the exam and they get depressed also. When you have, first of all, you have superhuman expectations from yourself, which nobody can fulfill, and then you get depressed. Fine. अगर मैं अपने से expectation ये कर लूं कि मुझे सुबह 50 किलोमीटर दौड़ना है सुबह 6 बजे, नहीं दौड़ पाऊंगा. Look at me, how obese I am. I cannot run. फिर मेरे से नहीं दौड़ा जाएगा, फिर मैं दुखी हो जाऊं, डिप्रेशन में मेरे से नहीं दौड़ा गया. तो पहले ही रियलिस्टिक टारगेट्स रखने हैं, रियलिस्टिक टारगेट्स. सो अगर आप अभी बैचेस ज्वाइन कर रहे हो और आपकी क्लासेस चलने वाली है मार्च तक, तब आप अगले साल का प्रीलिम्स पेपर टारगेट नहीं कर सकते अकॉर्डिंग टू अस. If you will target that, then we are making your life difficult. So you should target, then in that case, you should target the next attempt. You should know that my first job is to finish all my classes. Then I will get good 7 to 8 months for self-study and revision, and then target the next year. So that वो हड़बड़ी कि जल्दी चाहिए एकदम, एकदम रिजल्ट चाहिए 6 महीने में, that अगर वो एटीट्यूड आप रखोगे तो अपन खुद ही अपने आप को दुखी करने का सामान तैयार कर रहे हो आप. Because that's not going to happen. You will not be successful, and then you'll feel bad. So have realistic targets, finish your classes, then also have a time 4-5 months for self-study, and then target the attempt. And don't keep on postponing your classes and batches. If you keep on postponing, you will suffer then later.
Now, timing of the classes will be 2:30 p.m. And keep in mind that Iqbal sir mentioned that you have to be realistic. So if you're having too many things on your plate, you cannot consume it. So having 3 classes, GS optional as well as CSAT, I think will be a daredevilry. Desist from that.
फिर तो डेयर डेविल ही हो आप फिर. ठीक है ना, 7.5 घंटा क्लास करो, फिर पढ़ना भी है, और फिर एग्जाम भी क्वालिफाई करना है 2 महीने में. फाइन, ये कुछ होने नहीं वाला, और फिर बाद में तुम दुखी हो गए हुआ नहीं. So you should have realistic targets. So you do a batch, you can manage 3 classes together, that's not a problem. But then you should also have this in mind that then my target year is not 2026, then my target year is 2027. Because I am doing 3 classes a day. I will come in finish CSAT also, GS also, option also by March and April. And then I'll get good time to do self-study, revision, and target the next year attempt. So you have to be realistic in your targets.
Background is not a disadvantage. As I told you in the beginning also, that what matters is your ability to work hard, your conceptual clarity, and correct guidance with a strategic preparation that will do the work for you. So background is not a disadvantage, or I will say an advantage also.
Irrespective of whichever academic background you are, humanities, non-humanities, you won't have any problem in the course. You won't have any problems understanding PSIR, because we will start from scratch. Very slowly we'll build all your concepts like I explained to you. So irrespective of, there are so many non-humanities students, our students who've done so well in the PSIR paper. Okay.
Yes, optional can help you in a better analysis of GS papers. So optional will do validation, undoubtedly. That's why in the beginning, I focused on interlinkages with GS syllabus. Okay. Yes, you can do that, Divanshi. That's not a problem. Those who want to switch between offline and online, as far as GS and optional are concerned, that is allowed. You can do that. See, Jayesh, shifting from, if your timings are overlapping, then also it is not a problem, because you can shift your GS classes, and whatever lectures which you have not done or which have been covered in the advanced batches, you can cover it in other batches. So that will not be a problem.
Just they will give you a list of classes which have covered in that batch. So if you have missed certain lectures, when you change the batch, you can cover those classes in other batches. That also they will help you do. And you therefore within it will, of course, the transition will take a couple of weeks. Within a couple of weeks, you will be able to make transition into another GS batch. But provided you join a GS batch, you change to a GS batch which had started at the same time when you started your batch. So they will help you do that. The technical staff and the administrative staff will help you do that.
Does optional decide the services we get? I will say yes. GS will help you get entry into the list. But which services you will get, optional is your jackpot. So optional plays a very crucial role.
Your rank is determined by your optional marks. So any more doubts, students, you have? Any more doubts? This piece of paper.
So here is that you take extra classes. Right now you're also taking
See, first of all, keep that in mind that to do justice with the optional, we need around 180 classes. And 180 classes in 5.5 months, maximum 6 months if I say. There are holidays, there are national holidays also, festive season is also coming. So we believe that your time is precious, and our commitment is to give the best in the stipulated time. So that is the context.
I mean, it's not that the extra classes happens all the time. They were just
Hmm.
a couple of days in a week, if required, a double classes set scheduled, only to finish the syllabus in a desired amount of time period. Okay, and that also depends from batch to batch. Certain batches they go at a certain speed. So if required, then couple of days a week we may schedule a extra class. Not all. For example, the ongoing batch for 4.5 months, I believe they had no extra class at all. The batch which had started in April. So 4.5 months, they had no extra lectures at all. Only the last month now, we have started taking their extra lectures to finish the syllabus in the desired amount of time period. So it's not that throughout the batch there would be extra lectures. That is also improvisation which we do so that we can finish syllabus on time. And if students are not comfortable, then we also do not take them. Consent of the students is taken if the extra classes have to be scheduled. And students, many of the times the students themselves, they say, sir, okay, fine, take it so that we can finish syllabus timely. So then we only schedule it. So it would be democratic. It would not be like a dictatorship that we impose it on you. So it would be democratic. If any need would be required for an extra lecture, we consult the students and then only we schedule it.
Okay. Timely coverage of syllabus is important.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind.
Of course you can go ahead. If you're scoring 60 to 70 marks, that means you've done quite well. So, but you'll have to, if you have to be sure to qualify the prelims exam, then you must be scoring more than 100 marks at least in your mocks. So then you can be sure that you'll qualify the prelims. For that, whatever loopholes are there in your preparation, you must plug those loopholes. Okay. वो डुएबल है नहीं है, उसके लिए मुझे आपसे बात करनी पड़ेगी. मुझे पता करना पड़ेगा आपने कितना पढ़ा है, सिलेबस कितना कवर किया है, क्लासेस कितनी करी हैं, कितनी बाकी हैं, क्या है, वो सारा आपका पता करना पड़ेगा. तब मैं बता पाऊंगा डुएबल है कि नहीं है. ठीक है ना. सो वो सारा इंफॉर्मेशन मुझे मिलेगा तभी मैं बता सकता हूँ. ठीक है. तो उसके लिए आप क्लास के बाद मिल सकते हैं मुझे. ठीक है. Anything else? So, any other doubts and queries you have, students? Clear to all of you? All of you have understood? Okay. So I hope the workshop has been beneficial for all of you. The whole purpose was to help you make an informed choice regarding your optional papers. So online students, I hope all of you have understood. Any more online doubts? Can you please, any more online doubts? Ayusha, there would be no difficulty if you are with us. So don't worry about the difficulties. That's what we are here for. We will make all difficulties easy for you. Okay. Fine. Clear to all of you? Any more doubts? So thank you so much, students. Thanks a lot for your participation. And we do hope to see you in the classroom. Okay. Thank you, everybody, students. Thank you.